Hey everybody, what's up? This isn't the usual setup for a video, but basically, I'm just gonna, just doing it, just freeballing it, this video is gonna be about is basically my thoughts on the future. Basically, what is the future, man? A lot of people like to talk about things and talk about a lot of issues and such, but what is the future? I've been thinking about it a lot, been thinking a lot about it, and I realized that the future we're heading towards is absolutely, completely different than what they've been selling us for all these years. Like, if you watch a lot of movies set up in the future, you always notice that there's still a family, there's still people having children the old way, as in, the natural way, a man and a woman. But what I think, and this video, what I think is that in the future, I'd say about probably, let's say 20 years from now, let's say about probably 15 to probably 25 years from now, or maybe 10. It all depends on what's gonna happen, but I think in the future, man, we're gonna have, the natural birth is gonna be removed. Because right now, and I'm gonna say this, is that right now, the reason I'm thinking that is that, for us to get to space, you saw the whole new space shuttle by Tesla. For us to get to space, and I've said this in a previous video way back, for us to get to space and actually advance mankind, we have to eliminate our biggest weaknesses. Now, the biggest weakness, and this is this is on a power perspective, is that it's power. We need, and they're working on it. They're working on removing our dependency on, the old ways of getting electricity and power. Because the truth is, the government needs everyone. And I spoke to someone about this a while ago. The government needs everyone to have electricity. They need to remove the fact that you don't have power at your house, because it costs the government far more money that you don't have power at your home than it would cost if they could give you power and electricity for free. Think about it. If you had electricity for free, you would be able to spend more money. You'd be able to get out of the house more and buy more things. It's just like what they're doing now, where they made the internet, I think they made the internet free to a certain extent. They made it like a utility. I think Obama passed that bill a while ago. One of the things he did, right, is you have to have, internet, because you need internet access for jobs and, much more to keep in contact with family and so on. I mean, I think even the police, you could call them over the internet now. So what I think's gonna happen is one of the biggest problems is gonna be removed. I say they're working on it. It's called nuclear fusion. But I think they're going to remove the fact that you need to pay for your electric bill. I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna have two forms of power. We're gonna have the government provided power that runs off the taxpayer. Then we're gonna have the private electricity, private power source, where you have more access and more power, and you don't have like a cap. Because think about it, whenever a power outage happens in a neighborhood, crime goes up. Houses could be burned. A lot of destruction could happen. So what's gonna happen is, I think probably in the next 5 to 15 years, we're no longer gonna need to pay for electricity. I think it's gonna be free. It's gonna be freely provided. Now, the second issue that needs to be removed, so mankind can actually, visit space and conquer and take resources, is we need to remove our dependency on the opposite sex to actually have children. When you watch all these future films, the biggest lie a lot of these future films sell to you is that the future is just like today, that the future is basically the same as this, except we have better technology. For example, if you watch the Jetsons, I want you to go back to the Jetsons. Watch the opening. He had a family, he had a wife and kids. That is a lie, because why would you in the future need to wait 9 months to have a child? Why would you in the future, with all the advanced technology, need to still wait 9 months to have a child? So what I'm thinking what's gonna happen is that in the future, man, we're gonna eliminate the need for men and women to have children. I'm thinking in the future, we're basically gonna be able to order a child. It's gonna be as easy as providing a DNA sample. It might, odds are they're already doing genetic engineering. They're already doing genetic engineering. But what's gonna happen is they're gonna make it, and think about it as a single man who wants to have a child. What's gonna happen is that the non-straight man, and I say non-straight because Google blocks if you say the other word, even if you're not saying it negatively. What's gonna happen is the group of non-straight men in the transformer community, they're gonna want children, and they're not gonna want children that are damaged by straight people. Children that have been thrown to the orphanage by straight people. And also the government's gonna want to remove, the need to pay to maintain and take care of orphan children. So what's gonna happen in the future is that I would think it's gonna probably start, I'd say probably in the next 5 to 10 years, because they're already working on genetically engineering children and stuff like that. What's gonna happen, and odds are I'm thinking it's gonna happen in China or, China, India, Russia. It's gonna happen in countries where they have less BS with science, where they're like, we don't care what you do in science as long as you don't harm the majority of our population. What's gonna happen is that probably it's gonna start for let's say, because they already have something where you can genetically clone a cat. You can clone your pets. What's gonna happen in the future, how you doing, sir? What's gonna happen in the future is that they're gonna allow you to basically genetically engineer your children. We're already eating GMO food. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna have genetically engineered children. And it most likely gonna cost I'd say it's gonna start at the price of probably, let's say, a mid-range car, let's say around 20 to probably 50 grand to have a genetically modified and engineered child. Because that's gonna basically lead us to the true future. You know what I'm saying? Because in the future, for us to go to space and for us to travel and even start space colonies, for my Gundam fans, I watch Gundam, it's a lie that we would have natural birth. Natural birth is gonna be removed because there's too much of a limitation with natural birth. You gotta wait 9 months for a woman to have a child. Then you could risk having premature birth. then you have to provide this woman, and y'all have a healthy household, and so on. And I think in the future, we're gonna head towards genetically engineered children. We're gonna have GMO kids because it makes more sense to have genetically modified children. And in the future, we're gonna basically have a way where they'll grow children in probably a month. They'll be able to grow a child in a genetically modified chamber, because, they'll be able to speed up the growth process. Like, your child will basically grow like a dog. It'll grow extremely fast. Then it slows down when it becomes an adult or something like that. Like, it's becoming an adult. We're gonna have genetically modified children, because it's gonna take far less time, and it'll be far less expensive and far more simple to have a GMO kid than to have a normal kid. Because having a normal kid, especially with the way the laws are with the family court and so on, and since a lot of feminists have basically empowered the non-straight men community by defending and protecting them above all straight men, what's gonna happen is that that non-straight community is gonna come back and say, we want children of our own. If the straight community is so bad and so patriarchal, why would we want to have a patriarchal child through the means of a woman or a surrogate? And since there have been lawsuits where the woman who had a surrogate child sued the people, they were having kids for child support and so on. Because there's articles you could go and Google where a non-straight man was, sued for child support for having a kid. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen is we're going to have GMO children, genetically modified children. Because if you watch all these futuristic films, The Jetsons, Blade Runner, any movie or show Black Clover, any movie or show that takes place in the future where they're still having natural birth, it's a lie. Because it wouldn't make sense that you have all this technology and we still have a primal way of having children. So what's going to happen is in the future, we're going to have GMO children, genetically modified children. Odds are it's going to take place, like I said, in China, most likely China first, because they're going to want a healthier, smarter child. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have GMO children, genetically modified children in the future. And the other thing that's going to happen is that when it comes to the sexuality of the public, what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to order. And I think China and some other countries that have less BS rules when it comes to what's humane and such. What's going to happen is we're going to have genetically modified wives and husbands as well. What's going to happen is people are going to be able to buy a wife and a husband, a genetically modified wife and husband soon as well. Because we already got this GMO. They said all you need is a cow's DNA to basically breed and make a whole steak. What's going to happen for them to grow livers and such, and they're doing it with pigs and all that, but some people, and I believe the celebrities are really going to start it, the richer community, they're going to want genetically modified bodies. And what's going to happen is in the future, you'll be able to order, I'd say in probably 15 to 25 years, you'll be able to basically order a husband, a wife, a child, and they're going to come to you in like a Ziploc bag. You know what I'm saying? They're going to come to you, or you're going to pick them up in a location like a hospital. But in the future, you're basically going to have genetically modified children, wives, and all that. I'm going to keep doing more of these videos called In the Future. But this has been Hold the Truth Hostage, where we hold the truth hostage and would never negotiate with lies. Peace.